Good morning. We're Monday and we're in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 today, and Paul is continuing his discussion with the Corinthians on how they should live. And the focus that he's hitting over and over again is that we need to live our lives and focus on what is good for others. That should be our lens, that should be our guiding principle, that we live life for what is good for our neighbor. And we see that in verses 23 through 25. All things are lawful, not all things are helpful. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. So it talks about what we should eat and not, and while anything is lawful, it is, if it's not good for your neighbor, to not do it. But before that section, Paul has this discussion about the Israelites that went through the desert, and the Jews that would have been in the mentioned the Israelites in the Old Testament. And Paul is saying that they were faithful. They were faithful as well, to a point that they all partook of the same spiritual drink we have. They were all they went through the cloud, they passed through the sea, and they all were at one point where they were supposed to be. And he's warning the Corinthians that, hey, they should serve as an example. That nevertheless, with most of them, God is not pleased. That they did not live faithful lives. They did not remain faithful. And they were an example. And he says, don't be idolaters. Don't indulge in sexual immorality. Don't put Christ to the test. Don't grumble, as some of them did. And he's just saying that don't be like them. At one point they were faithful, and then they didn't stay faithful. And then talks about, therefore in verse 12, let no one who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall. And it's kind of this matter of boasting that Paul has talked about over and over in 1 Corinthians, that we should not boast about our faith lest we fall. That's certainly an option, but then it goes on to say, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability, but with the temptation he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. So this is a verse that a lot of people will kind of misconstrue and say that it's no one has been, God will not give you more than you can handle. And that's what this verse is talking about. It's saying that you will not be given a temptation to sin that you cannot handle. That every temptation, it's not just you, everybody, it's common to all man, and that God will provide a way of escape so you do not have to sin. So really, again, pushing hard on the sin, challenge not to sin. And then verse 14, therefore, because of that, flee from idolatry. So it seems the Corinthian church was struggling with idolatry at the time, and God is saying flee from idolatry. And I know that affects us with the different idols, and it's not typically things that we make and bow down and worship, but it's certainly things that we give our time and energy and resources to above that of Christ. So just a good reminder in this chapter to live our lives for the good of others, and to use that as our lens, and to seek to not give into temptation to sin. That we have an out, that God will give us a way to escape that temptation. So have a good day. We'll get into 1 Corinthians 11 tomorrow. So let me know if you have any questions or what you're learning. And God bless.